Hi everyone. Let us study a new grammar topic, that is question tags. The word tag you are familiar with. Suppose you go to a supermarket, at every item price tag is there. Is it not so? So a tag is tied at the end of it and you get the price of it. In the same way, in language, you can find a tag at the end of a statement to confirm, to ask a question whether it is right or not. For example, your father coming to your school and telling that my son is studying well. Is it not so? Yes, he is studying well. So that is a statement, isn't he? Is a question. The tag is confirming or asserting. You see, making sure that the statement is true. You are going to America tomorrow? Aren't you? Aren't you? Means, aren't you going to America tomorrow? So to confirm something, to make sure whether the statement said is true or not, these tags are used. So question tag. There are some basic rules how to make a tag for a statement to make it a question. Okay, now question tags added to statements. That is what we study today. Let us see the first rule. See, number one, if the sentence is positive, sentences are positive, sentences are there, negatives are there, affirmative and negative, positive and negative. The sentence is positive, the tag must be negative. Once again, reader, if the sentence is positive, tag must be negative. And if the sentence is negative, and tag must be positive. I repeat once again. If the given sentence is positive, the tag added must be negative. And if the sentence is negative, tag that is given must be positive. Just the opposite. Negative and positive. Positive and negative. Okay now? If the sentence is positive, tag must be negative and vice versa. For example, you see, he is a clever boy. Isn't he? Which means, isn't he a clever boy? He is not a clever boy. Is he? He is not a clever boy. Is he? So, if the sentence is negative, tag must be positive. And if the sentence is positive, tag must be negative. Is it not so? He works very hard, doesn't he? See? Children like oranges. Children like, don't they? Don't they? Means, don't they like? I like, lime juice. Is it not so? See? How do I say? I like? Yes. Do I? Don't I? Is it not so? I like. Don't I like oranges? I am asking myself. You see? I like is a verb. So it should be negative. Don't I? So sentence is positive, tag must be negative. And if sentence is negative, tag must be positive. Take any example, it will be negative and positive the other way. Okay, that is the first rule. If the sentence is negative, tag must be positive. And if the sentence is sentence is positive, tag must be negative. Number two, if the verb is finite. If the verb is finite. Finite verb means a verb having V1, V2, V3. See, finite verbs are there, auxiliary verbs are there. Finite means regular verb. Eat, ate, eaten. Come, came, come. Go, went, gone. So, having V1, V2, V3. And those kinds of verbs are known as a finite verb, a regular verb having V1, V2, V3. Yes, finite, and in simple tense form, which means present simple and past simple, only these two. I repeat, if the verb is finite and in a simple tense form, only present simple and past simple. Okay. Use do, does or did. Why only present simple and past simple? The remaining tense all will have some auxiliaries with it. So he eats a mango. Yes. He eats, doesn't he? You see? Doesn't he eat a mango? He is eating, there is an auxiliary verb, is. He has eaten, auxiliary is there. He has been eating, auxiliary is there. He ate, now auxiliary. He was eating, auxiliary is there, was. He had eaten, auxiliary is there. Had been eating, auxiliary is there, no. He will eat, will be eating, will have eaten, will have been eating. In all these sentences, some auxiliary verb is there. So, there is no need of this rule being, no need of applying the rule to the sentences. But except for present simple and past simple. Okay, now, the remaining all verbs will have auxiliary. So, if the verb is finite and in simple tense form, use what? Do, does or what? Did. You have to use what? Do, does or did. Okay. For example, he works hard, doesn't he? You see, he worked hard, didn't he? They work very well. You see, they work very well, present. Is it not so? Don't they? They did not work well, do they? So, if the verb is finite and in simple tense form, which means present simple or past simple, you have to use do, does or did to make the tag. Whereas, if the verb is an auxiliary, is it not so? It is repeated in the tag. If the verb is an auxiliary verb, for auxiliary verb, it is repeated in the tag. For example, he can't come now. He cannot come. Can he? Is it not so? Yes. It is a good book, isn't it? He is a clever boy, isn't he? She is a beautiful girl, isn't she? Yes. So, if the verb is an auxiliary, it is repeated in the tag. If the verb is finite, use do, does or did. If the verb is an auxiliary, it is repeated in the tag. These three are the main rules for writing question tags. Number one, sentence is negative, tag must be positive. And sentence is positive, tag must be negative. Number two, if the verb is finite, means regular verb, and in simple tense form, means present simple or past simple, use what? Do, does or did. Okay, you have to use what? Do, does or did. Whereas, if the verb is an auxiliary helping verb, it is repeated in the tag. It will be repeated as it is. See, I have just told now, he is studying well. That's present continuous. Is there. So, you can use an auxiliary. He is studying well. Okay now? Yes, isn't he? He has studied well. Hasn't he? He has been studying well. Hasn't he? You can say. One auxiliary will be there in any of those things. So, if there is an auxiliary verb, it can be repeated in the tag. These are the three important rules for writing a question tag. And fourth one, semi-negatives are considered to be negatives. Some words are there, negative but not completely negative. Semi-negatives. Words like little, a little, few, a few. Little and negative, few are negative. A little and a few are not negative. Okay. Seldom, scarcely, hardly, rarely. These kinds of words are semi-negatives, not completely negative. But they are considered to be negative and they take a positive tag. Fourth rule, semi-negatives are considered to be negative and they take a positive tag. Rule number 4, semi-negatives are treated as negatives and they take a positive tag. Is it clear to you? semi-negatives are treated as negatives and take a positive tag. For example, I mean, where is it? He comes to school seldom nowadays. Seldom means rarely. Seldom, isn't it so? Nowadays, he does not come to school regularly. He comes only seldom. Scarcely, rarely, seldom. So, seldom is a semi-negative and take a positive tag. Does he? So, semi-negatives are treated as negatives and they take a positive tag. Semi-negatives are considered to be negatives and take a positive tag. For example, a little, you see, I mean, negative tag should be positive, whereas a little is a positive, so tag should be negative. So it is a positive, so tag should be negative. So semi-negatives are considered to be negatives and take a positive tag. See all the 4 rules once again. Sentence is positive and the tag must be negative. Sentence is negative, tag must be positive. Rule number 1. Number 2, if the verb is finite, this you have to take care. See, he went to Vijayawada yesterday. He went to Vijayawada yesterday. How will you say? Went. That is a verb. Went. So, you have to use past simple. So, did. Didn't he? See, how to use do, does and you have to understand according to tense. If it is a present, you have to do or does. If the verb is present, use do or does. Present singular, does. Present plural, do. See, children like oranges, don't they? They ate apples. Past. Didn't they? Is it not so? Ate. Didn't they? Okay now? Yes, I don't like, what's that? Sweets. See, I don't like. Do I? I can say. He can come now. That is a auxiliary verb. Okay. So, anything like that. Okay now? She learns the poem very well. Learns. Simple. Singular. See, learns. So, doesn't she? So, do, does or did according to tense. If it is present, do or does. If it is past, did. So, doesn't, don't, didn't. If it is positive. Okay na? If it is positive, negative. Okay na? So, what is that? Third one. If the verb is an auxiliary helping verb like am, is, are, was, were, can, could, may, might, must, whatever. Okay na? Yes. It is repeated in the tag. If the verb is an auxiliary, it is repeated in the tag. Then semi-negatives are considered to be negatives and take a positive tag. 4 rules. I hope you have understood. Okay now? Number 1, if sentence is positive, tag must be negative. Number 2, what is that? The verb is finite and in simple tense form use do, does or did. Number 3, if the verb is an auxiliary, it is repeated in the tag. Number 4, semi-negatives are considered to be negatives and take a positive tag. Some more small items are there. Number 5. It's not writing well. Yes. Imperative sentences. Negative and positive. Add what? Will you? Get out? Will you? Come to class regularly? Will you? Come soon? Will you? For all imperative sentences, you can add what? Will you? You know what is imperative sentence? Command, request, order, that kind of sentence, all. They are all imperative sentences. So, for that you must add what? Will you? Now, see, let us means, shall we? Let us go for a walk. Shall we? See, let us, shall we? I am aren't I. I am not aren't I, but aren't I. For I am, you have to use aren't I. Now, all important rules have been covered. Remember one thing, last but not the least, repeat the given sentence, put a comma, add the tag, put a question mark, use small letters. All these rules are to be followed strictly. See, repeat the given sentence. Don't simply write, will you or won't you or didn't you or doesn't he. Repeat the given sentence, put a comma, add the tag, put a question mark, use small letters. If all these rules are maintained, you will surely get 1 mark for that. Okay, very simple that is. Actually very simple. Okay, now the last you have to take care specially, repeat the given sentence, put a comma, add the tag, put a question mark and use small letters. That is a question tag for you. Okay, na? Yes. Anything else is there regarding? Okay, all important rules have been covered. I hope it is clear to you. Once again, watch the video. For more updates, subscribe the channel SGK English. Thank you.